The studio lights burned hotter than usual as the view returned from a commercial break, the familiar theme music fading into what should have been a routine discussion. Joy Behar sat comfortably at the table, flipping her cue cards with casual confidence, while Reese Witherspoon smiled politely beside her, legs crossed, posture relaxed but attentive. The topic was meant to be empowering, women supporting women in Hollywood, breaking barriers, creating opportunities. Reese spoke about her production company, her mission to elevate female voices, and the responsibility that comes with influence. At first, the exchange felt warm, even celebratory. Applause rippled through the audience as Reese shared a story about giving young actresses their first real chance. But Joy's expression subtly shifted. She leaned back, eyebrow raised, and interjected with a comment that sounded lighthearted but carried an edge. She questioned whether Hollywood conversations about empowerment had become too polished, suggesting that stars at the top sometimes lost touch with the struggle. Reese nodded thoughtfully and responded with care, acknowledging her privilege while emphasizing that recognizing it didn't mean she was disconnected. She spoke calmly, choosing her words with precision, clearly trying to keep the conversation respectful and productive. Joy wasn't satisfied. She interrupted again, this time more sharply, joking that it was easier to talk about change when you already had every door open for you. A few audience members laughed nervously. Reese's smile tightened, but she didn't raise her voice. She explained that doors hadn't always been open, that she'd faced dismissal and skepticism early in her career, and that real change required people in powerful positions to act, not stay silent. Her tone was firm now, though still composed. The tension became impossible to ignore. Whoopi Goldberg shifted in her seat, sensing the shift, while another company host attempted to steer the discussion back to safer ground. Joy waved it off, leaning forward, clearly energized by the pushback. She made another quip, this one more personal, suggesting that Reese's brand of feminism was Hollywood-friendly, rather than genuinely challenging. The room went quiet. Reese paused, took a breath, and then responded in a way that changed everything. She spoke slowly, deliberately, saying that feminism wasn't a single lane and that dismissing someone's efforts because of success only weakened the cause. She added that respect should exist even in disagreement, especially between women trying to make progress in different ways. The audience murmured again, louder this time. The camera cut to Joy, whose smile had vanished completely. Joy scoffed, tapping her cards against the table. "Oh please," she said, her voice tinged with irritation. "Don't lecture me about feminism." The words landed heavy. Reese straightened, her composure unbroken but her resolve unmistakable. She replied that she wasn't lecturing. She was standing up for herself and for the idea that conversations didn't have to turn into personal takedowns. Her eyes met Joy's directly, unflinching. The energy in the studio shifted from lively debate to something raw and volatile. Producers could be seen gesturing urgently from behind the cameras. Whoopi tried to jump in, her voice calm but firm, reminding everyone that they were on live television and that passionate conversations didn't have to become confrontations. Joy barely acknowledged her. She leaned back, arms crossed, shaking her head as Reese finished her thought. For a brief moment, it seemed like the storm might pass. Reese softened her tone, adding that she respected Joy's long career and voice, even when they disagreed. That should have been the bridge. Instead, it became the breaking point. Joy laughed sharply, not with humor but disbelief, and muttered something under her breath that the microphones only half caught. The audience gasped when she pushed her chair back, the scrape echoing through the studio. "I'm done," Joy said, louder now, frustration spilling over. She tossed her cards onto the table, the neat stack scattering. Reese froze, clearly stunned, her hands resting still in her lap. Whoopi stood slightly, trying to de-escalate, but Joy was already unclipping her microphone, her movements quick and decisive. The cameras struggled to keep focus as she stood, her face set with anger and exhaustion. Without another glance at the panel, or Reese, Joy turned and walked off the set. The studio fell into a stunned silence, broken only by the distant shuffle of crew members and the low hum of equipment. Reese remained seated, visibly shaken, blinking under the lights as the reality of what had just happened sank in. Live television had captured it all, and there was no cutting away from the fact that something far bigger than a debate had just exploded in front of millions. The silence after Joy Behar disappeared backstage felt endless, even though only seconds passed. Whoopi Goldberg was the first to recover, turning toward the camera with a practiced calm that barely concealed the shock beneath it. She cleared her throat, offered a measured smile, and gently told the audience they were going to take a quick break. The applause sign lit up out of instinct more than enthusiasm, and the cameras cut away as the show rushed into commercials earlier than planned. Behind the scenes, chaos unfolded, producers speaking in hushed but urgent tones, crew members darting across the floor, and staff peering toward the hallway where Joy had vanished. When the show returned, Joy's chair remained conspicuously empty. The visual alone sent a message louder than any statement could. Reese Witherspoon sat upright, hands folded, her composure returning slowly but visibly strained. She looked as though she was replaying the moment in her mind, wondering how a conversation meant to inspire had detonated so publicly. Whoopi addressed the viewers directly, acknowledging that emotions had run high and emphasizing that live television sometimes revealed difficult truths in uncomfortable ways. Her words were careful, neutral, designed to calm rather than inflame. Reese was given a chance to speak. She didn't defend herself aggressively or assign blame. Instead, she expressed regret that the discussion had turned personal and reiterated her respect for differing perspectives. Her voice wavered just slightly, not enough to suggest weakness, but enough to show sincerity. She spoke about how conversations around power and privilege were complicated and emotional, and how she believed disagreement didn't have to mean disrespect. The audience applauded, this time more warmly, sensing the vulnerability beneath her polished exterior. Off camera, Joy was still backstage, reportedly pacing, visibly upset. Staff members attempted to talk to her, but she waved them off, insisting she needed space. Sources would later say the clash wasn't just about that moment, it was the culmination of years of mounting frustration, of feeling dismissed, challenged, and pushed into corners she was no longer willing to occupy. For Joy, the exchange with Reese wasn't a single spark, it was the match that finally lit a long trail of gasoline. By the end of the episode, speculation had already taken hold. Viewers flooded social media with clips, slowed down replays, and fiery opinions. Some praised Joy for refusing to stay in what they saw as a disrespectful exchange, applauding her for walking away rather than backing down. Others criticized her exit as unprofessional, arguing that Reese had remained calm and that Joy escalated a debate that could have remained productive. Hashtags trended within minutes, and the moment became the defining clip of the day across entertainment news. Later that evening, statements began to surface from anonymous insiders. Some claimed Joy felt blindsided and undermined on air, believing the conversation had crossed an unspoken boundary. Others suggested producers were caught off guard by how fast the exchange unraveled, admitting there was little they could do once emotions took control live on air. Reese released a short public message expressing respect for Joy and disappointment that their conversation ended the way it did. It was gracious, careful, and unmistakably aware of the public microscope now fixed on both women. The biggest question lingered into the night and beyond: was Joy's exit permanent, or was it a dramatic but temporary walk-off? ABC remained silent, fueling speculation even further. The View had seen walk-offs before, but rarely had one felt this final, this emotionally charged. Joy's empty chair became a symbol of generational divides, clashing styles of feminism, and the growing difficulty of navigating honest conversations in unforgiving public spaces. For Reese, the moment marked a shift as well. She had come on the show to promote empowerment and dialogue, yet left having experienced firsthand how fragile those conversations could be. Insiders later said she was shaken but resolute, determined not to let the incident define her message or silence her voice. The clash had exposed the cost of speaking openly, and the cost of refusing to bend. By the next morning, the moment had already entered The View's long history of unforgettable live TV explosions. Whether Joy would return or not, something had undeniably changed. The illusion of controlled debate had shattered, replaced by a raw reminder that behind every polished panel sat real people, real wounds, and real breaking points. And for millions watching, the episode wasn't just entertainment, it was a glimpse into how quickly conversation can turn into collision when pride, history, and emotion collide under the glare of live television.